all about greenery and bringing into your spaces greenery in a way that is quite simple, I find, to keep alive. So even without a green thumb, you can have kokedamas or kokedams, however you say it, in your space for a really long time. So to make this happen today, you need some seed raising mix, you need some peat moss or core peat, and you also need some sphagnum moss, and naturally, you need some plants to do it with. I love kind of the bushy, leafy variety. This one's actually going to become a trailer. I picked these up just from my local nursery, all unbelievably affordable. And to finish it off, we naturally need some string. So let's get to it. The first thing we need to do is to actually soak our sphagnum moss. So some people soak this overnight. I find if it's soaked for a good 15 to 20 minutes, it is plenty. It does puff up, so as it absorbs the water, so definitely don't throw in the entire thing. It's an interesting consistency. Whilst that's soaking, let's get the rest of our mixture ready. So this is usually done, I do it in a 50-50 ratio. So 50% of seed raising and 50% of peat moss. But you can sometimes even go 70-30. You can get your peat moss either in a bag, or you can get it in like a brick like this to then break up. So when you are using a peat core brick, you naturally need to not only break it up, but you need to expand it with some water first, or you could simply get the one that comes in the bag. This is actually outrageously messy, but can be something super fun to do with the kids. Just mix that up. It's like making mud cakes. I generally do allow some of this other soil to fall away from the root ball, because we can't have them, well, we can have them large, but I like to start small. You then grab this mixture and you start, sometimes you might need to add a little bit more water to it. You start forming it in a mud ball around the existing root ball. So this is your peat moss. So it's literally like making a mud pie and starting to press all this together. The plant will get a little bit roughed up as you're doing it, but it will survive and it will thank you for it. As you can see, we've got a nice big root ball going on here now, covered in the peat moss and in the seed raising mix. Okay, now that we have this really tight ball happening here, I'm going to start to layer my drippy sphagnum moss around the outside. Make sure you wring it out relatively well. I like to sort of space it out into kind of wads that I can then wrap around the ball. You know, in an ideal world, these would be perfectly symmetrical and the wall would be a perfect place. But let's face it, not everything needs to be perfectly round. Now don't be frustrated if you're finding that bits are falling off, because that is exactly why we have the string to secure it all. There's nothing glamorous about this job. Now you can see that after a few winds, most of the sphagnum moss, most of the outer moss is actually sticking, which is fantastic. So now it's a matter of deciding whether you want a really refined, neat look, or whether you're happy for it to be twine and moss. So I'm gonna go somewhere in the middle. Not too much twine, so I can still see the moss, but enough twine that I don't have to worry about the moss falling on the floor. Oh, we're on a roll now. We're on a roll now.
And now it's time for the second one.
And if you find one of your loops is maybe a bit loose, don't stress, because you can always go back over the top of it and secure it. And I'm going to secure the twine. Sometimes you can just tuck it under, other times it's kind of nice just to tie a little knot in it. And there you have it. Super messy, super fun, and just beautiful.
Thanks for watching. Did you know we run workshops for all things DIY and renovation? I've popped the link below with our schedule for the rest of the year. Hope to see you there sometime soon.